Well, good morning. It's March 12th today, and we're in Numbers 18. I just wanted to make a little bit of a comment on a short passage here. Verse 20 of chapter 18 says, "The Lord said to Aaron, you will have no inheritance in their land, nor will you have any share among them. I am your share and your inheritance among the Israelites." So he's really talking to Aaron and his descendants, the Levites, and he's giving the plan for how they're going to support themselves. The Levites wouldn't have their own inheritance within the land. They were supposed to live among those to whom they were ministering, and they were to be supported by the tithes and offerings of those who were bringing them to them. So they're, in a lot of senses, they're going to be dependent on the people to worship the Lord and bring their tithes and offerings, and that's going to show their own dependence also on the Lord. They're supposed to give a tenth of what they get also back to the Lord, so they get 90% of those offerings that are coming to the Lord to support them in their ministry. So this is a very clear demonstration in the Old Testament that those who are doing the work of the Lord are supposed to be supported by that work. Um, and I mean, I don't think that that makes it an easy thing for them. There's quite a bit of dependence on depending on others for your food and for your even your place of living here. But there's a bigger principle, I think, at play here too, that these Levites are supposed to be identifying with the people that they're living among. So there would have been all kinds of different areas in Israel, people who had been supporting themselves by their vineyards or their flocks or their herds if they're shepherds, or by fish if they're fishermen on the Sea of Galilee, or growing crops on the plains, whatever those things might be. It would have been very different lifestyles for the various different tribes. And so the Levites are supposed to live among those different tribes, so they'll get to know the lifestyles of the people that they live among, so that they'll be able to represent God well to those people that they live amongst, and they'll be able to preach in such a way and teach in such a way that they already know how people are living and how to apply that to their lives. It would be very hard for somebody who had never been around fishermen to be able to relate to fishermen, or who had never been around shepherds to relate to shepherds, or who had never been around vineyard keepers to relate to them. So I think it's a wise plan of God's to put his primary ministers amongst those people. But he also then calls the whole nation to be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. And so they're supposed to represent God to the whole world and the whole world to God as well. So they needed to be engaged with the peoples who were living around them, the other nations, so that they could represent God to them. And so it's, I think, a really great model that this place of dependence that he has put them in, a place of honor in a lot of senses, but also a place where they have to identify with people that they're living amongst. They need to be in them, around them, among them, in order to be effective in their jobs, and also to encourage the people to be engaged with God constantly too. So if they'd just been separated and put in their own little territory, I think it would have isolated them from the service to the Lord, and people wouldn't have been as apt to follow in their footsteps because they would have been completely different from them. So I think it's a wise plan of God's to do it this way. God's very smart in what he does. So anyway, I like that passage, and let's come back again tomorrow and look at March 13th.